So being part of the FSIN, we're very happy to host this event here in Washington. My name is Rob Vos, and I will be your moderator. In full disclosure, I should say that I was already involved in the production of the first edition of the report in this nature last year, in 2017, and also part of the FSIN when I was still with FAO. Now I'm also re-engaging with this report at IFPRI, also in the production of this year's report. The subtitle of today's event is From Humanitarian to Developmental Responses. And even though the report is not a policy report, it's a report that reports on food crisis hotspots and its determinants, I still think the focus of this discussion is very appropriate, if only for the two key findings of the report. First, we've seen more people facing severe situations of food crisis, food insecurity in 2017 as compared with 2016, and again more than in the years before. Second, most of today's food crises are recurrent and protracted crises. For instance, in February of last year, 2017, famine was declared in parts of South Sudan. Then subsequently, humanitarian assistance helped to stave off that to evolve into a major humanitarian disaster. But today, the number of people facing food crisis are more than we saw last year. Maybe not as severe as close to a famine, but yes, in what the integrated phase classification says in stages 3 to 4 and not yet phase 5. So, and also the situation is going to worsen in the expectations as reported in the global report as the conflict lingers on, as more people are displaced and food prices have skyrocketed because of the food scarcity. All of this is to say is that humanitarian assistance can attenuate a food crisis situation, not prevent it from worsening and happening again. So I'm not to give a full introduction to the report, but we have a very good and outstanding group, I should say, of experts today to talk about the report and to the theme of From Humanitarian to Development Responses. So they will talk to these issues and hopefully lead us to a discussion about what can be done to avoid that the situation now affects over 124 million people in the world can be prevented and attenuated moving forward. I'll introduce the speakers as they take the floor, but before introducing the first speaker, let me convey to you the apologies of Congressman Jim McGovern, who sincerely regrets he cannot be here as he was called this morning for urgent congressional matters. This is unfortunate, but we still have a program loaded with sufficient expertise to enlighten you this morning. So now turning to the program, our first speaker is Ambassador David O'Sullivan, who will speak first. We are very honored to have you here, Ambassador. Ambassador O'Sullivan was appointed head of the European Union delegation to the United States in November 2014. And as the European's top diplomat to the United States, Mr. O'Sullivan oversees the EU bilateral relationship with the US and the direction and work of the EU delegation, including political, economic and commercial affairs. We're very honored to have you here, and I would also like to underline the role of the European Union in supporting this work that has led to the production of this report, as well as in supporting the development of early warning, early action systems to identify and prevent food crises. To further underline this, Ambassador O'Sullivan will also introduce the video message that we will hear from EC Commissioner for International Cooperation and Development, Neven Mimica. Ambassador O'Sullivan, you have the floor.